Hey everybody, Stu Smith here, going live. Hope you guys are well. Happy Monday. And today we're on our Monday show, so that means I'm going to take some questions, give some answers. And while I wait for you guys to hop on here, um, I'm going to chat a little bit about an article I just wrote. Just send it in to military.com, and it is called It's Never Too Late to Get Started. And there's some science behind it. And you probably didn't need to know that there is science behind um, exercises in your 40s and 50s are going to make your 60s and 70s better for you, but it's confirmed. It was probably about 4 or 5 years ago this study came out, and they did this long, like 40-year study, maybe 30-year study, about 300,000 people, and they just put people on an exercise program, or they didn't, and just kept track of them over 2.5 decades. And sure enough, whether you exercised when you were a young adolescent, let's say you did sports and you worked out often and then life got to you and you just quit working out, um, later in life, here's some interesting pieces of that study. So let's say you were a great athlete when you were younger, you worked out, you quit working out after college. Next thing you know, you're kind of sedentary, you're gaining a lot of weight. It didn't matter what your athletic history was, you're still having sedentary effects of those last 20, 30 years. That means greater risk for heart disease, cancers, diabetes, chronic illnesses like that. However, if let's say you did nothing as a adolescent, but you started exercising in your late 30s, 40s, 50s, your 60s and 70s were so much better and improved mortality rates from um, all of the major illnesses that cause the majority of deaths as we age. So that was interesting. And the other part of the study, too, read that if you were an athlete and just stayed moving throughout your 30s, 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, obviously you were pretty solid on the mortality rates. But even those who did not do anything for 20, 30 years in between that saw results similar to those who've been exercising all their life. Now, I wouldn't read that as like, oh, good, I can chill out for 20 or 30 years and then start exercising again. I wouldn't do that. I would try to find something that you enjoy doing and just make sure you do it. It doesn't have to be joining a gym or, you know, running races or anything. It could be just walking, stretching, um, group classes. It could be dumbbells that you have in your basement. Whatever. Walk around the block, do some yard work. Just stay moving. That's the key. Because I will tell you this. I've seen 80-year-olds who can drop down on the floor, like toe touch, walk it out, down dog, 10 push ups, walk it back up, stand up on their feet. And I've seen 80-year-olds who, when they fall, they can't get up. Or when they're sitting down, they can't stand up out of that chair without help. So it really comes down to which one do you want to be. If you're so lucky to be able to live into your 70s and 80s, I wouldn't want to do it any other way than the granddad who's cranking out push-ups over Christmas, challenging his grandkids. That's living. So anyway, that's my intro to you guys this happy Monday morning. It's still wintertime here, but the good thing about February here, at least here in Maryland, Middle Atlantic region, is February has been warmer than January. So that has made us a little tougher. It's like we were outside today doing leg day. It's 30 degrees and not even flinch about being cold. That's the beauty about getting used to 18 degrees is 30 feels like a heat wave. So it does make it a little tougher. I think one of the guys who's about to leave here, he stated the other day that his number one goal, like when he drove into the state of Maryland from California, when he drove here, and that was over a year ago, he says, when I leave this state, I want to have a contract and be 10 times better than I am now. Said something like that. And he goes, I have to be honest with you. I'd rank my things that I gained here number one and number two. Two is the physical, and one is the mental. And the beauty of our program is I don't even try to make things mentally challenging for people. The beauty of just having a 6 a.m. workout in the heat of the summer or the dead of winter is it's already built in, right? It is there. So your mental toughness gets added just a scoop every time, right? And it's amazing how being just a little bit uncomfortable can really trigger that part of your brain where you have to make a decision. Do I stay in bed nice and warm, or do I get up and go get this done? Going through that little battle every day, and eventually that battle becomes quieter and quieter to a point where you don't even hear it anymore. But it takes some time to do that. But it is a valuable process that I think everybody needs to go through because there's not a poster or some video you can watch that's going to make you mentally tough. It's you going through the process every single day, building some habits, building some discipline through consistency. Those are all the key buzzwords right there. Um, that's how you do it. And it's not an easy way to do it. There's not an easy way to build mental toughness, right? You're not going to take a pill. You're not going to watch a movie. You might get inspired by that movie. You might get inspired by somebody doing awesome things. But that inspiration fades real quickly when it's 20 degrees out and you need to go train for whatever goal you're setting yourself for. So, anyway, that's my intro. I appreciate you guys listening to my good morning uh, speech. Hopefully, got you on a good start. And let's take some questions. Tomorrow, I'll be back here the same time, and we'll do a live Q&A along with some CSS videos. Got some CSS videos to critique for you guys, and yeah, send them in if you want me to critique them. Happy to do that. Somebody asked, did I bike with Mark today? I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't bike. I mean, I might sit on a bike to warm up a little bit, but are you talking about Mark James in the area? Yeah, I heard he was in DC. That's still about an hour away from me, but no, I haven't seen Mark. Would be awesome if he stopped by though. Um, nice work. Morning. All right. Did that study talk about people who were sedentary because of injury? No, it did not. It didn't talk about why they were sedentary, but I would imagine injury, life itself, um, illness, all of those come into play. I'm not saying it's because you chose to be lazy. Some things are out of your control, but you may spend 15, 20 years having to recover from something traumatic. But no, it didn't mention any of that. But, by all means, you have injuries that you're dealing with that will make things difficult, but you have to find other options. And it may take some creativity. It may take some searching for ideas. online, maybe asking people who would have the same injuries, what do they do to stay active? So, good question though, because I did want to differentiate the two. Let's see. Ryan says that's a good pregame speech. I hope so. My goal is to like just say, folks, no one gets out of here alive, and you're going to be older longer than you are younger if you are lucky. Um, so do the best you can with what you got. Do you have any opinions of Virginia Military Institute? I do not, other than good, good opinions. I think it's a great school. I think if you want to do that, build some extra discipline along with getting a good education on top of it. And I know a lot of many people from Virginia Military Institute in the military done quite well for themselves. They have a good Spec Ops prep program out there. In fact, I know a couple of guys that are there now and are going this next year. So, yeah, if that's where you want to go, I'd highly recommend it. You can probably get it paid for if you get a part of the ROTC program, which, is worth it if you want to serve afterwards. Save your parents some money. Any tips for pool training for people with no pool access? There's no such thing. I mean, you watch some videos and try to piece some things together. Um, about the only thing I've ever seen people get if they don't have a pool is that what is that tool? I'm trying to remember um, the swim machine. Dang it! What am I skipping? My brain is not firing on what that is, but it's basically like a treadmill for swimming. You lay on this thing and you pull on it. You can work your freestyle catch. Um, let me see. Dry land swim machine. Let me try that. Dry land swim machine. Da da da. Why is it not coming up? Somebody help me out there. Give me a what do they use for dry land swimming? Now, one thing I've done when our pools closed down is they got these things, uh, basically just rubber bands that tied onto a waistband, and you could tie it onto a like a ladder at a backyard pool type of thing. It's too small to swim laps in, but big enough to like stay in one spot and just do your freestyle stuff. Um, but yeah, if you look up dry land swim trainer, you'll see some bands and things like that. There's some machines that are a little expensive. I just remembered. Vasa Trainer. Let me just look up Vasa Trainer for you. So I think it's VASA Trainer. Yeah, look up vasatrainer.com, VASA trainer.com if you're looking for something. But the problem with this is expensive, right? But you can get the rubber bands and just do it yourself. So my advice is either Dryland Swim Trainer, Google that. Is it going to make you faster at swimming? Probably not. Is it going to get you in swimming shape? Probably not. But at least it works some pulling muscles that you're going to try to do. But be honest with you, if you're trying to prepare for something that has swimming and diving and pool skills and water confidence in it, if you don't have a pool, it's a fool's errand. You got to find a place to swim. Period. That's safe. That doesn't mean like jump in a river nearby and start swimming. Um, so those are my best tips for you. If you can find a place that has a Vasa trainer, great. Or you can buy those little bands, or find a place that just has a backyard swimming pool, that small swimming pool that you can use the um, little elastic band trainer. what is that called? Let's see, something pretty easy. Um, band swimming trainer, sporty resistance training cord. Yeah, basically it's just a cord you just tie to something sturdy off outside the pool. And this is a small pool that you really can't even swim laps in. Like my next door neighbor's pool's like 20 feet across. To swim laps in that thing is futile. But whenever COVID happened, I put on one of these little belts and just swam back there, and that was very helpful. So do what you can if you can't find a pool. Sorry to be the truth bomb on that one, but Ryan's taking notes over here. Did I upgrade my camera? It looks better. I don't know. I upgraded my headset and speaker. I don't think I upgraded. Maybe I did. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, get one of those little belts. And there's a couple of different brands out there. I bought mine on Amazon. So, belt for small pool swimming is what I'm Googling right now. And bam, swim tether belt, $30. Um, so, in fact, I did this once in a lake that I didn't really feel like swimming all the way across the lake and back. So I put this on a pier pylon and wrapped it around that, and then just stayed like 5 yards off of the pier and just swam in one spot. Just making a bunch of splashes. So it works like that too if it's a safety issue with boating and things like that. Yeah, swim tether. Check it out. Let's see what else. Big Fish says working 3 years to get my body into shape, debilitating injury, hospitalization. Oof, that sucks, man. I'm I, I understand. I'm a horrible patient when it comes to illness and injury, so that is something that really sucks. Nearly ended my life in 23. Yeah, man, I understand. 2025. Hopefully, it's a better year getting back to work. Sweet, man. I'm with you. If you need help, just email me. Let me know what I can do. Happy to send you some ideas. Um, Somebody just says, just bought your Army Special Forces operations ebook. Let me see. I don't have a copy of it. Would you say it's to prepare for the test, or will it help with selection and the pipeline process? Oh, it's everything. It is, yes, the test is part of it, but it builds up your rucking, it builds up your durability to handle longer runs and rucks and the load bearing activities that you're going to be doing, as well as the Army fitness test that you're going to be doing. In fact, it's been upgraded because they've recently changed at least the Army Ranger fitness test has changed from what it was previously was. Mark Watson says, as a fit older gentleman, no disrespect to your, oh, I don't mind. Can you perform just as well in your 40s and 50s as you did in your 20s? You know that song Toby Keith has, You're as Good as You Once Was? Um, Not as good as I once was, but I'm good once as I ever was. Um, I would say that is true, though I will say I'm a little slower um, per mile than I would prefer to be. But strength wise, I'm happy. Calisthenics wise, swimming, awesome. So I'm probably swimming faster. I know I'm swimming faster now than I was in my late teens, 20-year-old. But then I got really fast by like 25, and I'm not that fast. I could do a 500 and like 640 back in the day. Broke 630 once or twice. but 640 to 7 minute was kind of like my range of fast. And that was for freestyle or CSS. And I can still do a 730. So pretty happy with that. 8 minutes if I'm um, kind of cruising, but running nowhere close. Lifting, eh, still strong for my age and compared to the younger guys, but not strong as I was in my late teens and 20s because I was a power lifter, which, I much stronger. 2 times body weight, 2.5 times body weight, squats and deadlifts with, 2 times body weight on bench press, which I'm just happy to do 1.5 times body weight on all of those right now at 200 pounds. So, yeah, but close enough for me. Have you swam or fished in the Gulf of America yet this year? No, I'm up. I'm up in Maryland, so I grew up in Florida, so I've swum in that water many times. It's awesome. But no, I haven't gone out there in quite some time. Did a lot of fishing out there, a lot of spear fishing, and just boating. Good place, beautiful water. Um, will me doing this half marathon training help before starting this book? Yeah, I think it would help. Half marathon's not too much, and it's a good logical progression to the level of miles that you probably need to be in before you start doing this program because it's not a beginner program. So if you're doing 0 miles per week, I don't recommend that Ranger SF program at all yet. Start off with something easier like calisthenics and cardio, or maybe the Army PFT program. Build your numbers up. Thank you. All right, let's see what else we got. Ryan says, what do you recommend for knee tendonitis? I'm a pro soccer player, and everyone gets put out because of bad tendonitis that is propelled from other injuries that goes hand in hand with shin splints. There's a lot you can do. I mean, if you're done playing soccer, that's one thing. If you're not done playing soccer, my advice is talk to the physical therapists that you have and trainers to really nail it down if you're trying to maintain that level of agility. If you're transitioning out of that and going into the military, you don't need that level of agility to do what you're doing. You just need to be able to run straight, fast. Yeah, there's some jumping and landing with obstacle courses and things like that need to be have some durability in there. But combination of basic lifts, squats, lunges, RDLs, deadlifts. Let's work those muscles. Get those a little tighter, stronger. Flexibility, mobility definitely helps. Swimming, I know you're going Army, but if you mix in some swimming, some treading water, some aqua jogging, all of that has a therapeutic uh, value to everything from ankle, knees, and hips, which all, once again, need to have some mobility to them to help you with, shins and knees and hips. Um, so that's kind of where I would go. So it kind of depends on where you're going to how hard you can make that transition out of soccer into something else, or if you're staying in soccer, that requires another level of therapy that I'm not really good at recommending, and that's why I would recommend Doctor Physical Therapy or one of your strength coaches that is there with the soccer team, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean they they are well prepared for the agility issues that come with training. But if you're doing If you're doing other training outside of soccer, it may interfere with your ability to do soccer. That's why I'm saying pick it out and figure it out. Figure out which way you want to go, because doing both hard may not be an answer for you right now. Thanks for the advice. I'm going to Army, but I play first level indoor with many big time athletes. They are staying in the sport. Yeah, like I said, staying in the sport's one thing. Preparing for a role in Spec Ops while you're in a sport, that's tough. You might not want to go hardcore outside the sport while you're in the sport. You can maybe work on some weaknesses, things like that, things that benefit both. But, if you're adding in, rucking and hardcore lifting, just to get a little stronger while you're still playing, there's an off season, in season process of training that I would think you would adhere to. Not, very similar to the way we handle winter, spring, fall, and summer training blocks through the year. That's what periodization is. I do it in seasons, whereas sports do it in seasons as well, just different seasons. They do in season, they do postseason, they do preseason. It's a different style of training for all of them. Similar, but just a little bit different. Let's see. Who's the biggest guy you ever seen make it through buds? What were his numbers like? And what did he struggle with? Biggest guys I've seen are like 230, 235. And what do you think the big guys struggle with? Running and obstacle courses. They did not struggle with a log or a boat because that was like lightweight, baby. Not a problem. So just all the cardio events they just had a problem with. But, they were completely durable under all the loads like rucking, fireman carries. They were just strong. Logs and boats. Obstacle courses, because of grip, were really challenging for some. And just pure running, for the bigger guy was hard. Let's see, what else we got? Best way to have good form doing push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups by yourself. I'm sorry, I know these questions might sound dumb. No, it's not a dumb one. My advice is just use what you got. You might be watching this on your phone. It's a great little video camera that you can set right there. You can look at it, and you can be an honest critique of yourself. Compare it to the perfect pull-up, the perfect push-up. You can Google that too, and see somebody doing a perfect chin-up all the way down, all the way up. Same for push-ups, same for sit-ups. Compare it. It's not unlike what I do with the CSS. I post a CSS video up there. Tell people what it's right or wrong. I'll put a good one in there and say I don't have anything to fix on this one. Compare your swim that you just took to this one and see where you're different or the same. That's what I would do. These little contraptions here are quite useful. Let's see. It's my wife's phone. Where's mine? Okay, how much cardio is sufficient per day? I tend to do 30 minutes Tabata at average, 180 heart rate, I guess, and call it a day. But part of me says that's not enough. Well, it depends, big fish. What are you trying to do? Trying to get your heart rate up and improve your cardiovascular system? That's one way to do it. You can also do it by just walking and keeping that heart rate low, build some, nice aerobic capacity. It doesn't all have to be high intensity interval training. In fact, I wouldn't recommend it just being that. But if that's all you need to do because you're not training for anything in addition to that, it's sufficient. Though, like I said, I would do other things like count how many steps you make in a day. See if you can get 10,000 steps in a day is a great addition to it, whether that's just walking from one end of a parking lot to another and all the aisles of a grocery store coming back out. Got yourself 3,000 steps. Walking the dog, those are great low level cardio activities that I think a lot of people don't do. Not everything has to be high intensity and burning that candle at one end while your life is also stressful at the other end. Maybe have something that's not stressful on you and it actually relaxes you and de stresses you. Low level cardio can do that, and that has a great benefit on just living life and eating up some of the kind of catabolic effects of stress by engaging that parasympathetic nervous system. If that doesn't make sense, just email me. I'll send you some other ideas. Do I have a quick sea story? I don't know. Something may come to me. I'm currently 240-ish. Swam 250 yards Friday at 440. Not bad. I was out of breath by 200-yard mark. Is that an endurance issue? If so, how many yards should I swim day to finish the 500? Well, yeah, it's probably an endurance issue if you're, that slow at 250. Usually I try to get people at, put it this way, I try to get people swimming 5 minutes of 300 yards, right? That's 300 yards in 300 seconds. So, my advice, if you really want to swim what I would consider would be a good swim time, would be 250 yards in 250 seconds. That's a yard per second. That's about a 410. So, you're about 30 seconds off. But, for a 500, you're a minute off. So you're probably going to be just under 5 minutes, or sorry, under 10 minutes on that swim, which isn't horrible. But, I like to keep people at the, sub 9 level of swimming for the 500. Just kind of like a standard I have for people going. That is a combination of both technique and efficiency and cardio. So I would say it's probably a little bit of both. If you haven't sent me a video of you swimming 50 yards, you should, and I can tell you immediately if it's technique or conditioning. But at 240, I would say it's probably conditioning. For 500, here's what I do for people who want to swim the 500. Do a Google search on the 50-50 swim workout. In fact, I'll even do it for you. 50-50 swim workout, Stu Smith. It's one of the workouts I created that is used a lot. Free, out there, ready for you to do. And I promise you, if you do this 4 to 5 days a week in about 3 to 4 weeks, one, you'll be able to finish a 500-yard swim. Two, you'll be a lot faster. I've seen people go from 10-minute, which is probably where you are right now, 10-minute 500-yard swim to an 8-minute 500-yard swim in as little as 3 weeks. Now, in that time, I taught them how to swim a little more efficiently. I just had to get them in a little bit better shape. So, good question. Let's see. But yeah, for most people, especially non-swimming athletes, it is a combination of technique and conditioning because it's not the same. Your running ability usually has very little to do with your swimming ability, especially if you're not good at swimming, meaning poor technique. I've had 5-minute mile runners come into the pool and are really confused that they can't swim a lap of swimming without, going anaerobic. It's kind of funny, be honest with you. I said, dude, you're not in swimming shape. In fact, I wrote an article on that one called Dude, You're Not in Swimming Shape. You should check that one out too. Would you say 150, 160 heart rate is low enough to get those benefits you spoke of, or should I slow my easy runs further? I don't know. I mean, I guess 150, 160 is not horrible, but I wouldn't consider those zone 2 either. So, I mean, if 150, 160 is easy for you, then it's easy and that's fine. But if you Google the term zone 2 cardio, it's probably going to be closer to 120, 130. But that also varies depending on your conditioning as well. Currently 200 pounds, trying to get to 190 to make running a bit easier. That's good. That's about where I was when I went to Buds. I think I went into Buds at 200, 205. And when I finished, I was like 195. I think I got down to 190 after Hell Week and then picked it back up to 195 by the time I was in third phase. That's a good weight. Do you think Aztec or Native Americans can make it past Buds? Sure. I think anybody can make it past Buds as long as you prepare properly for it. Yeah. I mean, if you're from that warrior culture and been trained by, great mentors, I'm sure you have um, I'm sure you have some resiliency and mental toughness that maybe not a lot of people have. But still going to require you to prepare for load bearing. It's not just running, it's swimming, it's pool skills, it's water confidence. More so than water confidence, it's just not getting panicky in the water. Dark water. I mean, we had somebody quit our first night swim. We called it the boogeyman swim for a reason. It was a night swim, and we had somebody quit right before we went out there. It was like 8 o'clock at night. It was dark, winter, kind of sucked. Maybe it was fall. I think it was fall, not winter, but late fall, early winter time frame. Let's see. All right, looks like I got all those questions answered. Ryan is saying to come train with you as a candidate of military, can we email you the dates we would like to come and train? I wanted to come train with you at least 2 weeks. It's my goal for the spring, late winter. Sure, absolutely. Come check it out. It's awesome. That's what most people do. In fact, we had a couple of guys come from a different state last week, just stayed 4 days. Got to meet a few people, understand where they live, and what they do when they're not training here. They're usually each other's social group as well, so you get to know the guys pretty closely, and it's nice. Everybody kind of holds each other accountable, like, hey, don't do something stupid type of things. But some guys still like to go out and have a good time on the weekends, which is fine. You're young, should go do that stuff, but not get in trouble. That's the key, for sure, because it's just something you're going to have to deal with later that could interfere with you being able to join the military. So you want to be smart about it. But yeah, absolutely. Just email me when you want to come by, and I'll make sure that we will be here. And I don't have any trips planned in the short term, so should be here the rest of the winter. But the guys will be training without me, even if I have to leave. Like there's a couple days every now and then I have to go somewhere, and I just give them the workout and they go set it up and do it. So there's always somebody that's been here long enough to know what I'm doing. Let's see. Looks like I answered all these questions. Would you have a recommendation for training for Army Combat Dive School? More swimming or physical? Both. I mean, you're definitely going to want to prepare for same thing Navy Dive School is. A lot of treading, a lot of pool available, comfortability. That means harassment while you're treading or buddy breathing. Something I would do is if you've never gone scuba diving before, probably get a civilian scuba dive certification. They're a couple $100, but at least you're kind of gone through the motions of breathing underwater for the first time, and it's not something foreign to you while you're learning things fed to you through a fire hose. Um, just takes away one of the elements, I think, of new training. That's my advice for you. But then really focus on swimming with fins, treading with fins with weight, treading without fins, with no hands. All of those are skills that you're going to need to master. Underwater swimming. So, yeah. Compared to a 28-year-old at boot camp surrounded by a bunch of 18-year-olds, is the age gap huge at buds as well, or is the age sort of all around? That's a great question. I would say this. Boot camp, you're going to feel like a granddad being 28 years old because most people all around you are teenagers. Now, that tends to shift a little bit as you get into your buds prep programs. However, I was still shocked by the number of brand new high school graduates that we had in our class. But don't sweat it because week by week, once you start phase, and you'll be surprised, those guys will be quitting during Bud's prep, even, and hadn't even gotten hard yet. So, a majority of the people that may be 18 when you show up there on day one will not be there by the end of Hell Week. It's just the way it is. And I'm not trying to jinx them by saying that. This is a statistical reality. Um, you'll still have some that are there, which are the remarkable people that are able to do that at such a young age, I think, because I don't think I would have been able to do it at 18. But at 22, I was ready. Um, so there you go. Treading with weight with a weighted vest. I wouldn't do that. I would do it with a weight belt or with something in your hands. What's your weekly running mileage and swimming yardage recommendation for someone attending buds? I mean, this is something I answer every week. In fact, I've written an article about how much you should run before buds. You can find that article if you put my name in the search. Swimming, we usually swim about 2,000 yards a day, 5, sometimes 6 days a week. So if you do the math on that, it's what, 12,000, 10 to 12,000. And we swim with fins twice a week. So 4,000 to 5,000 of those are usually with fins. And our fin days are leg days. So that's when we swim with fins. I think I've seen some programs out there where you swim every day with fins. I've seen some where they say don't swim with fins. I'm like, I don't know why if you're going to try to prepare for swimming with fins. We just top off leg day with swimming with fins. So that's how we do it. But my advice for running prior to buds is really kind of dependent on your athletic history because I've seen people who are runners do way more than they need to. I would probably drop my running down to like 20 fast miles a week if I was a running athlete and spend more time lifting and doing calisthenics and swimming. If I was a swimming athlete, I would definitely want to progress gingerly into higher mileage and try to build up to 35, 40 miles a week without injury. But that may take 6 months to get up from like 10 miles a week to 30 if you're doing like 10% increase a week. If you're a power lifter type person, I'd probably put you on the same type of progression, just gently going into your running mileage, doing more running than lifting, and more calisthenics than lifting. So everybody's got a different journey depending on their strengths and weaknesses. And to be honest with you, I don't think there's a one generic answer to how many miles a week you should be running. It largely depends on your athletic history. Swimmers don't need to swim that much because they're already studs at swimming. Just maintain a little bit of swimming, a few thousand, maybe 4 or 5,000 yards a week, and they need to be focusing on land activities because they spent a career of athletics in zero gravity. So now they got to get used to the impact forces of running. They got to get used to load bearing and putting weight on their back, carrying logs and boats and rucks. So everybody has a different number. So I'm just going to answer it with it depends. It depends on where your strengths and weaknesses are. Do you feel paralysis by analysis has become a massive factor when it comes to these selection pipelines? Oh, absolutely. There's way too much information out there. I mean, compared to when it was my day, we had zero information. So I don't know where you'd want to be. I don't think you want to be in mine. I was lucky in my preparation because I at least had people that were a year and 2 years ahead of me that were doing it and sharing their information. And I was watching them when they were in their preparation phases, what they were doing. And I was like, that's what I need to be doing. Right. Especially a year later when they make it through, I'm like, I definitely need to be doing what he was doing because it worked. So, nowadays it's, there's a lot of options out there. My advice for you is no matter what program you see out there that is a generic program, and these are generic programs specifically designed for something, but they're not specifically designed for you. So you have to personalize them as best you can to your abilities, your facilities, your equipment, your time per day, days per week. Do you have a pool? Do you not have a pool? What do you do when you don't have a pool? All of those kind of questions need to be answered and adjusted by you. Um, so, there's no real answer to, in these generic programs that fits everybody. You have to make those adjustments. So yeah, I kind of like it the way it is right now personally. But as long as you understand that there are 3 phases of tactical fitness, okay, 3. And remember, phase 1 is passing this fitness test, whether it's the PST or the IFT, pass that fitness test in order to get accepted into the program. Then, if you stop there, you're screwed because you never practiced on getting through the selection program. That's phase 2 of any process you want to do. To the training, through the training. They need to be a significant part of your preparation time. Then there's phase 3 of tactical fitness, which is what all the operators are doing to maintain their job and to have stress mitigation processes and longevity, because you will be older longer than you are younger in these professions if you keep it 20 plus years. So all 3 of those look different from what you need. So if you're doing things that don't look like a fitness test, maybe you don't need to do those things right now. And that's all you need to do is pass this fitness test. Let's pass this fitness test. But you also need to prepare for part 2. Might be rucking, might be swimming with fins, might be other pool skills, might be lifting if you need to lift because you're weak as hell, right? Might be running more because you suck at running, but you got to do it progressively. So everything's got a what if to it and it depends to it. Um, where I see a lot of people go wrong is they start with phase one, but they never go to phase two, and they wonder why. Hey, I got two buds, but I never got through buds because I never really stopped doing PST workouts. The other one would be they're doing like phase three workouts from some active duty operator who's jacked and doesn't have to go through buds anymore. you know that's not the right program to get through buds. So everybody has a different phase that they may specialize in, but as long as you understand your phase one's going to get you to the training, your phase two's going to get you through the training, and when you're an active duty operator, you're going to have people that are there to help you maintain your physical abilities. There are trainers, there's physical therapists, there's osteopaths, there's all types of folks that are there to help you um, really master fitness to keep you in that phase three of training. Now, here's the big caveat to that. Let's say you've been a SEAL for 5 or 6 years. Now you want to scream for DevGru. Guess what? You go back to phase one because now you got to prepare for a DevGru fitness test and DevGru Green Team, which is largely it's physical. You still got to ramp up your physical fitness, but you also need to nail down your tactical skills and be solid in those because that's where you're really going to be tested. So, once again, phase one, two, three, they will not steer you wrong. That is a stepping stone to get to where you want to go. And if you're not following a phase one, phase two, phase three programming, um, you may miss out on a couple of strengths and weaknesses that were not developed. All right, you guys still asking questions, man. This is really good. Would you say the pipeline's harder because more people know and practice with the standards and knowledge that's out there, Seal the Budge, or would you say it's competitive now because most one and two? I will tell you this: I don't think it's harder. Um, I mean, I've had people say, buds instructors say, "Look, we'll give you what the week is going to be. Every week you get a schedule of what it's going to be. If you had all of first phase in 9 pieces of paper selling what you're going to do each week, it still doesn't matter. You still got to go do it. I mean, I've had people go through this program here, right? One day at a time and not finish it because they couldn't finish it, right? So, I mean, just because you know what's coming doesn't mean you're better prepared for it. You could be if you actually prepare yourself for what's coming, but I can't tell you how many people still don't prepare for 4 mile timed runs and they fail them. They don't prepare for treading and they fail it. And the answers are there. You just got to do it. You're just blowing it off because you're not focusing on what's going to get you through the training. People are now overqualified and they join. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think people are in better shape now than when I was in. So you might have better in shape quitters, but you still have quitters because it has nothing to do with physical fitness. It has more to do with how much discomfort you can handle, right? Can you handle being wet and sandy all day, 5 days a week? That's a lot for people. Can you handle being cold all damn day and just shaking, right? And just shaking while you're eating lunch, just trying to get some calories in you so you can keep shaking more. Um, do you like being, yeah, no one likes it, but can you handle being yelled at that you're the worst bud student ever and don't belong here? What are you going to do when somebody tells you that? That's an instructor that you revere and you really, appreciate his opinion, right? But, what are you going to do? Are you going to come back stronger and make sure he never says that again? I would recommend it. But some people come back weaker and mentally they're like, oh, maybe I don't belong here. Some people have a girlfriend or whatever that's keeping them too busy at night and taking up their time and, you know, playing games. And, they just like, this really isn't for me. Yeah, no shit. Buds isn't for anybody. You're not doing buds as a career. Any tips for someone with mild meniscus tear? I've had seen successful candidates make it through. Yeah, I've seen people mild meniscus tears, ACL tears with surgery, dislocated shoulders. You can make it through the training. It just sucks. You have any people went through buds with a family? Yeah, absolutely. Some done well, some did not. It happens. I wouldn't say they're a demographic that is high or low failure. I haven't really seen it that much because it's not many people that do. I'm sure they have those statistics somewhere. Mr. Smith, what splits do you recommend you should aim for the 50-50? Should it be fast than our 500 splits? Um, I usually try to keep it the same. The 50 free is hard. That can be fast. It can be skip breathing. You want to be winded on the 50 free. You want to try to catch your breath on the 50 CSS, but keep that at kind of a goal pace. That's the ideal way to do it. And with minimal rest. Take a couple big breaths in between that 50-50 and the next one. 2 or 3 inhale, exhale process. Boom, go. Don't waste a lot of time resting. Let's see. Couple more questions. I need to go. It's almost been an hour. I do appreciate your time. Opinion on SARMs or PEDs within SOF community and candidates? I think it's stupid. I don't think you should do it. I think they're not needed. And if you get caught with them, you should be booted. It's cheating. Um, yeah, email me if you got specific questions that you need closer answers to. All right, last questions. What do you recommend for a person in their early 30s getting into special operations? You can do it. There's not much recommendations different than anybody else. My recommendations is you be able to perform as well as a 20-year-old. Period. And you just need to make sure you're engaging in as much recovery activity as possible. That means you need to nail down your eating, your sleeping, your hydration, electrolytes. Don't go out getting hammered on the weekends just because your ability to recover is being jeopardized every time you go do that. So you just need to be a little more proactive with your recovery. Might be more massages, might be foam rolling, massage guns, stretching, whatever that is, you need to do it because you will be tight. You will be unable to recover as quickly as an 18, 19-year-old, but you'll be more mature than everybody. And that helps. Helps a lot. People will be coming to you for advice because you have a lot more life experience, than most people in your class. All right, so here's the deal. I see there's some more questions that just popped up. I apologize. I cannot get to these. I do need to go. However, if you want, you can take those, cut and paste them, and put them in an email. Send them to stu@stusmith.com. I'll be happy to answer them by email later today. If you stuck around this far, I appreciate it. Check out StuSmithFitness.com. Use the Live15 coupon code. Save yourself 15%. Just like every week, it's available if you want to use it. I appreciate your time, and I will be back tomorrow with some swim videos to share and take more questions. So you can save your question till tomorrow, or you can email it to me. So thanks a lot. You guys have a good day and see you tomorrow.